5, 16, 19, 21, 30, 3 and 10. Check results. You remember?
This is 45. Is it actually 45? Wow, I think it is. I just want to go back to podcast 45. I hopefully I'll be singing that. I mean, the song is 99, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Anyway, but hopefully I'll be saying that in 100 times because hopefully this is one to remember. Let me get my notes in front of me. I've got notes today. Haha, that's right. It's going to be a goodie. Pod a day. Do these once a day. I know, it's excessive. And this is the 45th day in a row. Crazy, man. I'm kind of scratching the whole celebrity quotes because I'm starting to run out of like finding just funny quotes. Like the first ones I didn't have to search for them. They just sort of were presenting themselves to me. Like God was just sort of putting them in my pathway every day. Now it's like I've got to try and search for like quotes that are kind of funny and stuff from celebrities, and it's just kind of hard. So now I'm just going to give a quote each day. And I'll probably be bad a lot of the time. But it's also, I guess, like, it's kind of like homework. It's kind of like, it's a skill to think of quotes. And like, if they're good or bad, I don't know, there's something in it. Trying to make up your own quote. It's a weird thing. I don't know, I can't really put my finger on it. Today's quote, and it matches the theme. They probably will most times, but it's going to match the theme of today. Which is, if everyone's a Nepo baby, then no one is. And with that, we can start there. Basically, what I saw on Twitter was like a thread of things. It was talking about Timothy Chalamet, the actor, and they were saying how like his agent or someone around him was talking about, because for the new Gladiator 2 film, apparently the people who could have been casted in a role or something was between like Austin Butler, Paul Mescal, Timothy Chalamet, all the big popping white boys of Hollywood right now. And someone commented under like, "Whoa, fight! They must have had to fight to the death or whatever." And then like his agent or someone said, "No, Timothy hasn't. This is just a rumor. Timothy hasn't auditioned for a role in the last 7 years." And then there was a bunch of backlash, like, "This is not the flex you think it is. Not auditioning. Wow, like the connections people have in Hollywood is absolutely disgusting. Like that's not a cool thing to brag about." And then people being like, "Yeah, Charlamagne's actually got like an uncle who's a director and stuff, and his mum used to be an actor, I think, and his sister is an actor, so it's all like in the family and stuff. It's all like Nepo-y and that." A few things. First thing, aside from the Nepo baby stuff, like, I don't know, surely everyone knows, or like it's just common knowledge that once you become like you gain a certain credibility as an actor, you don't really audition for things. Like, I would be more surprised if he was still going in for auditions. Like, do you genuinely think for every new role Leonardo DiCaprio gets, he had to go in and audition for that? He's Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I mean? Like, these people aren't auditioning. The director has seen him in something else, and they're going, "Oh, they're brilliant. I'm going to pick them out." And that's not like something... That's something I just assumed anyway. Like, of course, I can't imagine these people going in and still auditioning. That's like a thing you got to do to, like, prove yourself. Once you've been in loads of stuff that kind of acts as your, like... You have, like, a very credible, like... not filmography, I guess, because you didn't direct them, but, like, CV. Like... Why people are acting like surprised, like, what? Wait, he hasn't auditioned for anything in 7? What? That's not to say he's never auditioned in his life. Like, he just for Spider-Man did get lost it to Tom Holland, like, and probably other roles. That's just like the most main one. But like, did people really think? And it's like, if you've ever watched those videos, like actors going through the timeline of their career, like, they pretty much say that, like, "Oh, this director hired me because he saw me in this short film I made like 7 years ago. He saw me in this TV series I done. He saw me in this and that, and my agents called me and asked me if I wanted to come in and do like a screen test or do like a script read of him, and then it went well, and that kind of acts as the audition. It's not really an audition. They kind of know you're right for it already. They're kind of just it's more of a personality thing, like, feel each other out. I was shocked by that, but the whole thing on Nepo babies, right? And tell me if I'm wrong, but to me, you're a Nepo baby if your parents are considerably famous. Like, okay, here's the thing, right? Which I just feel like people don't talk about, with a lot of like new words that have been made their own thing, like within the past 5 years. I'm not saying nepotism has been a word for God knows how long, obviously, but like Nepo baby has like Gen Z era, like words get reclaimed and have their own new meaning, which I feel like you don't. And all of these new words as well have a certain level of nuance to them. Like, it's not just black and white. Like boomer was already a thing that already meant something long before this generation, but it's kind of been reclaimed now. Like, and I notice this all the time sometimes when you say these words in public, but words like nepo baby, boomer, mid, like it's not as simple as boomer, you were born in the baby boomer era of the 60s, wherever it was. Mid, something is of medium value. Nepo baby, you've been handed nepotism. There's been nepotism involved in your success of your career. And although technically that is what the words mean, I just feel like it's not, man. Like, because in that sense, literally almost everyone in Hollywood is a nepo baby. Because in my eyes, nepo baby is just like, yeah, Jaden Smith, nepo baby. Your parents like crazy famous. Like the way nepo baby has been reclaimed now is a thing purely for Hollywood. Obviously, in real life, being a product of nepotism can exist in anything, not just Hollywood. But I feel like nepo baby is like for music, like this big stardom things. First of all, second of all, like if you're getting a role, yeah, it's still nepotism. But if you're getting it through like a family friend or like connections to the industry or stuff, it's like, yeah, it's nepotism, but it's like it's no one. I can't explain it. It's like you get it. It's like there's nuances of the word. Like it's its own word. It has its own meaning, and I just feel like yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like a better example to try and describe what I'm saying with nepo baby is just use a different word, which is easier to describe. Boomer. Sometimes you say the word, or I've said the word like, "Oh, you're like such a boomer" to someone, and they're like, "No, I'm not. I'm literally like, I'm 23, man. I'm not a boomer. I'm like Gen Z." I'm like, no. I'm not saying you're literally like. Surely this is just common knowledge. Like you're the same age as me. Why do you not know what I'm saying? I'm just saying like you have boomer tendant. Like you're acting like a, and then it's hard to explain it because they're just not getting it. But it's like if you get it, you get. Same with mid. Like I don't feel like mid. Like it doesn't just mean medium, like God, this is the most did you know you can be pretentious and gatekeepy about Gen Z terms? Wow, apparently you can because I'm doing it. But mid isn't just like I saw. Okay, what's an example of something people would call mid that isn't mid? Calling, I suppose calling Toy Story 4 mid, I don't feel like that's the correct time and place to use that word, because like it is, yes, it's a 6 out of 10 film that didn't need to be made. It's kind of irrelevant. Calling Toy Story 3 mid, correct use of the word, because a lot of people like Toy Story 3. A lot of people would say it's maybe the best, but then you think it's kind of overrated and you jump into be like, yo, Toy Story 4, I think it's mid, man. Like, actually, like, it's kind of a word you use for something that you feel is medium, but you feel other people maybe overrate it a little bit. There's something in there. It's hard to explain, right? I don't know why I'm tangenting on about this. I just wanted to talk about the whole Nepo baby thing because I feel like now it's like there's this whole 6 degrees of separation thing. It's like, because everyone in Hollywood will have that. You could do 6 degrees of separation with everyone in Hollywood, probably 80%, and it'll be like, oh, they had a cousin, they had like a married into the family uncle who is like who has like who's really tight friends of like a director who works on stuff and can talk to people, got you an audition to get into this drama school, so you kind of had a little step up to get into that drama school. Then you're at the drama school, you didn't have any other helps to get to the top from there, but you did get helps to get into the drama school in the first place, which then led you to the auditions. So you know what I mean? It's like you could do it for, and all your favorite actors who you think didn't have a little helping hand at some point probably did. And like I said, full circle. If everyone's a nepo baby, no one is, because you could get a step, like a little help in any step of the ladder, really, to jump you over someone else. We're all are all as bad. Well, we're not really all as bad as each other. I mean, Jaden Smith literally got put into a film at like the age of 9. Karate Kid, The Pursuit of Happiness, and all that stuff. After Earth, just straight up movies where Will Smith was like, "Yo, I want to be in this film, and my son will be my son." You know, and then you got people like Idris Elba who are like doing the opposite of his daughter when he was like, she said, "Yo, you're doing a film. Just do the Will Smith thing. You know, you're going to be the dad. You need someone to play your kid. You know, I'm your kid. Get me involved." And he was kind of just like, "No, you're not. No." And then she and then he outed her for it publicly. Anyway, aside from that, can I just mention as well? I don't know. The heating's been weird, and I've had both my windows open, and my feet were numb. Which, like, I was sitting there kind of perturbed, peeved by it. I'm indoors. I don't want to have numb feet, as if I'm outside walking around, and my feet were cold. And now I don't know if no, the radiator's cold. I don't know if the heating's on a timer, or I just shut my windows, I guess. But like now my feet are warming up rapidly, and it's that horrible like overheating sensation of your feet when they've been cold and they're warming up quickly, and they're tingling, and it's just horrible. And I'm really uncomfortable right now. I just want to make that clear. Anyway, something I didn't mention yesterday, which I wish I did, because it's sick, right? All the time you see records being broken. LeBron James seems to break a record every other game in the NBA. So you just see it on social media all the time. What the human body is capable of. You know, the speed in which people can run 100 meters now compared to what they could 100 years ago. Steroids? Oh, maybe not. We don't potentially, but we don't know that. Human body is a crazy thing, and it's only getting better. You know, records being broken every day. But enough about humans. I saw the most wholesome thing in the world yesterday. Bobby. Now, if you don't know who Bobby is a 30-year-old dog. And a 30-year-old dog who now currently holds the world record as being the oldest dog alive. Oldest dog alive, oldest dog to be alive. 30. Congrats. You've just broke into your 30s. Crazy. And the way I like to think about animals as well, which I think is different from scientists, is that they kind of do this thing where they cause a dog, let's say, lives for 15 years, right? They try and speak about the dog relative to a human's life. So they say a human lives for 80 years. They just try and say, okay, if a dog lives to 15 years, then half of 15 is 7.5 or whatever. Let's just say 7. So when the dog is 7, it's like a human being 40 years old, because they split the dog years up, dog years are the whole thing, in dog years at this age, because they're trying to compare it to a human's age. And it's think about that for a minute. That's such a human-centric way to look at an animal, kind of. To be actually, no, it's not, is it? No, it's not. What I'm about to describe as a human-centric way of looking at it. What that actually is actually an animal-centric way, because it's yeah. Great. Scratch that. I've got my human-centric way, which I was just about to... Fuck. Now I can't edit that out as well. Which is that I like to look at dogs as if to say, when a dog is 7, it's not actually 40 years old if it was a human, but it's 7 if it was a human. Basically, no dog reaches adulthood, really. They stay kids forever. They just die as children. Imagine humans just perished once we got to about 16. It's none, but you know what I'm trying to say? It's the oldest humans ever were just children, basically. Which you could argue the whole things would change, and then adulthood would be actually being a 16-year-old. But just try and, follow me on my fantasy. It's not really a fantasy, that sounded weird. But yeah, so all dogs basically die. They're not dying as in their own lives as 60-year-old beings, but dying as children. This sounds grim, but in my head, it's how I think of it. Because dogs, even up until they die, they still kind of have like childish energy and stuff. So like, if my dog right now is 10, in dog years that's probably like 52. But I don't think of it that way. I think of my dog is just a 10-year-old, and my dog will die as like a 13-year-old probably, a 13-year-old kid. But this dog defies that. This dog is one of the few dogs to ever make it to adulthood, and it did, to be fair, like 10 years ago. But now it's like 30. Like if it was a human, it'd probably be living on its own and like paying taxes and like just on the grind and 9 to 5. Coming home. Oh, I was tired. Oh, I'm stressed. How was work? Yeah, it was a long day. Oh, fuck me. Dad, you're home. Hey, are you right, Baba? That type of stuff. That would be his life right now. But but because he's a dog, he hasn't got any of the, and he's not a human. He hasn't got any of those responsibilities. He's living out in Portugal. He didn't move there. It's not like he's at his summer place. He lives out there. So he speaks Portuguese. He's a Portuguese speaking dog. That's quality. I don't think he has any kids that he knows of. You know what I mean? He's looking pretty healthy. He's looking pretty healthy. Like he's not in nappies. He's not like got a walker or anything. He's got all 4 legs. His tail is still there. It's not been like chopped or anything. He's eating human food as well. Like, and this is what fucks me. Like when I was at like work like last year, and I was telling this guy about how like occasionally I'll chuck my dog chicken bones. There, I said it. It doesn't sound good because yesterday I was talking about how my dog is always ill, but it's not like stomach ill. It's just got infected ears. Anyway, I was telling him how I often like chuck the dog chicken bones sometimes. Like my dog's eaten chocolate on numerous occasions, and the dog will eat human food because we're a weak spined family. And he was like, no, you can't give your dog chicken bones, mate. You can't. He was speaking to me as if I just got the dog. You can't give the dog chicken bones, mate. Like it can choke on those. And he was saying, no, chocolate, you can't give chocolate. Mate, no, it's actually really bad for them. You gotta stop doing that. It's gonna kill it. And I was just thinking, look, I don't go around from the rooftops screaming out, you can give your dogs chocolate, you can, because that would be maybe harmful. Maybe their dog would react badly to it. But all I know is I've had my dog for like over a decade, and it's always just been eating chicken bones, been fine, had chocolate. Like some people, it's like, oh my god, my dog accidentally ate chocolate today. I had to take time off work to rush to the vet, make sure they have to get his stomach pumped. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like we put dogs on like a professional athlete regime, regimented astronaut kind of level of diet. Like we make them live like that. Like they gotta have the perfect proteins and nutrients and all this other stuff. Like think about how we live as humans. What have you had to eat today? Probably like 4 grapes, a Chinese, and 2 cans of Fanta. Like you don't exactly live like a prime athlete, but yet we have our dogs on. They eat out of these little fucking astronaut space food pouches, and it's just like, yeah, maybe giving your dog this fucked up food might shave 2 years of its life, but quality over quantity. It loves it. Do you want it to be sitting there miserable all the time? Like I was out at the park once. The dog. I'm not going. I was just there, but was I with my dog? I don't remember. But this woman, I think, my friends or me. I'm not gonna say I'm a saint, but they was eating chicken and chips out of a little shitty, cardboard box. This might be an English thing. I'm not sure. And then they were chucking their chicken bones on the floor, and then a dog ran over, which wasn't on the lead, and ate the chicken bones. And the way this woman grabbed the dog by the neck, unclenched the jaw, was a very slender. Was she old? I can't remember. Middle-aged probably. I think she was. In my head, she kind of has a She was like a 45-year-old maybe Hispanic woman. She didn't say anything in another language, but in my mind, I kind of imagine it that way because it zooms it up. In my mind, she said, I can't speak Spanish, but she said like, no, dog, stop. And then she told it off in Spanish, like, Porarico se me ha roto. And it was just like, what's going on? But basically, she like, grabs the top and bottom jaw with either hand, pries it open, and then, while the dog's mouth's open, and before it closes again, she gets her left arm, I swear to God, elbow deep in there, yanks the bones out. Naughty, naughty, don't do that. Like, even if I didn't want my dog to eat certain bones she just found on the street or whatever, like, I'm just going to be like, okay, damn it, she got them. I'll try and be more careful. I'm not going to, like, they're not that fragile. Like, if you leave it, they're wild animals that have been domesticated realistically. Like, they'll be okay. But then again, that's not advice. I don't want people to go off and accidentally kill their dogs. I'm just saying, with my particular one, that's just how it's been. Why am I talking about this? Oh yeah, Bobby, the 30-year-old Portuguese dog. And this is what I mean. He's had a great life. He's eating like dumplings or something, I think. He's like out in Portugal eating human food. Which, by the way, it's funny how we call it human food when we're talking about when dogs eat it. But yeah, human. It's weird. It's weird to call the food we eat human food. I just think of it as food. But I guess dogs don't think. So let me not even go there. Was there anything else interesting about him? Oh yeah, and there was photos of him. Like, no, this is what puts it in perspective. You hear like dog 30 years old, and you're like, oh, that's crazy. But then you see photos of him from the 90s, and you're like, what? There's like pictures of him which like kind of like blurry, like black and white. Well, not black and white, but muted color. And he's like out there, and he even looks like he's carrying himself different. Like, he looks like a dog of the 90s, or maybe that's just the way I'm perceiving it. But like, he looks like he's, there's a nostalgic edge about him. He's like got his hair done in a different kind of way. Like, he looks of the time, like he fits in. Like, he's seen more life than me. Like, he's 30 years old. Like, he was there. Like, he was seeing S Club 7. Probably was out in Portugal. I don't know what was big around then. But like, he's seen a lot. Everyone goes on about, the Queen, she lived through like 17 prime ministers, whatever. This dog lived through like more presidents than me, at least. I don't know. This dog's crazy. I actually, you know what? I think this is the Queen living to like 90, so I don't know how old she was. I think this dog's a better achievement because it doesn't come around often. Where's his jubilee? I'm gonna leave it on that. I did have another thing to mention, but it's quite a hefty thing. It'd take me like another 10 minutes. I'm already at 22. 17. Yeah, okay. Usually I look up at the time and it's like a year, so I'll look up and it'll say 1920. I'll think, oh, that was the year that we lived in, or I didn't. Or I look up and it'll say like 20 minutes 16. I'll be like, oh, 2016, that was a year that happened kind of like, recently, I suppose. But then I just looked up and it said 2241, and I thought, that will be a year that exists once. Yeah, it'll be like 2020 years in the future. That took too long. But that will be a time. I don't know if humans will still be around in 2040 years. But like, if they will, life will be looking so different. So different. Yeah. Will Nepo babies still be around then? In the metaverse? Mother. Wait, why would they be speaking like... I was about to do this whole robot acted out thing, but then why would they... I don't think the metaverse is actually really going to take off, really. And I know that's like kind of thing where it's like, mate, you're just behind it. I got shamed about this once because I was saying to people the metaverse is lame. I was like, it looks lame, it looks crap. I didn't really go into why I think it's crap and stuff, really, and why I don't think it's that cool, realistically. And then the girl was like, yeah, but obviously it looks crap now. It's early stages. Like, think about how phones used to be when they first came on the scene. And I could tell, and I was like, I was talking about how it looks rubbish, and she was like, yeah, but you got to understand, it's not just like a game. Like, it's a lot more. And I could tell like she was like big into the metaverse and thinks it's going to be like the new thing. And like, I just didn't want to have that discussion. I don't think it's like NFTs or something, which have also proved to be bullshit, and I think a lot of people knew that at the time. But it's like, whenever there's anything new, I feel like there's a lot of people who kind of want to jump on and say this is going to be the new way of life. Like, NFT art, even the concept of it is like brought up to the forefront, and people are like, this is how it's going to be in 20 years time. I promise you, all art is going to be like this, and everything's going to be like this, and we're going to be digitally singing this. Cryptocurrency, that's the way it's going to be. I promise you, in 40 years time, 50 years time, money won't exist. It won't exist. It'll be a new thing. And it's just like maybe, but the thing is, most of your predictions, think about how long life is, like the life of the universe and humans beyond us living. Yeah, maybe you're right in 400 years. I'll be fucking dead. So to me, it's basically not even reality. Like something that will happen in within the next I'm not going to be live that long. For the next 50 years, I'm like, cool. But you talking about how like, trust me, metaverse is going to be a thing. I'm just like, mate, look at this shit. Like, you're already into. I just said shock. I don't have the debate at that time. Place was at work, but in my head, I'm just thinking like, and it proves to be crypto's like on the fucking floor right now. NFTs are basically non-existent. It's the butt of all jokes, and the metaverse is yet to be seen with that. But it just looks kind of lame. And I think in my lifetime, it's probably never gonna grow into much. But maybe after this could age badly, but I don't care. It didn't age badly for the last two big things. Because that's the thing. No one wants to be that guy who wasn't fresh to jump on the new train and get left in the mud. So they always act like anything that's new will be the next crazy thing. And it's just like, I don't mind. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And it's big. It's like, sure, I'll jump on now. There's nothing you get to say I told. Here's the thing. You get to say I told you so. I'm like, whoa, and I jump on the train with everyone else. Cool. It's like you miss out. Whereas you want to invest every penny you have now into it. If you're wrong, you're losing everything. You're losing your whole yard because you put all your money into crypto. If I'm wrong, yeah, I could have gained a lot of money, but like the risk to reward ratio was never there, and it's like, oh, my name, I ain't feeling too bad. Anyway, that one in a while. 45 feels good. See you tomorrow, guys. On to 46.
With a kid, and they had like 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. He was like a hero.